Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk to everyone about this website that I discovered. And this website does something that I was hoping that someone would do. And what that is take all the information we have about various risk factors for COVID and give you a number that is your personal risk factor based on the best available data. And because I think what's most important is some people are very worried about COVID and some people are very not worried about COVID. But the information that's used to get to that is probably not accurate, and it's probably not, doesn't factor in all the various things. And so this website does a really good job of looking at kind of the prevalence of COVID in your area, the kinds of activities you engage in to see what your risk of exposure is, and then take into your age and your comorbidities and things like that to determine how likely you are to have bad issues with it if you are exposed to COVID and if you get COVID. So let's go over this together. When you load this thing up, it tells you that the tool works best in Google Chrome or mobile. So that shouldn't be an issue for most people. Just dismiss that. And this is the website. I'll link this below in the description. What I like about this is that there's a method, and they tell you exactly where they're getting all their information from. So they're going to look at, see, they have links to all the studies right here. And so they're going to look at, how they estimate how they figure out your exposure. And then how do they figure out the efficacy of the vaccines? And then what activity levels are, susceptibility, and then all the various risk factors of hospitalization, ICU admission, death, that kind of thing. So you can look at all these. And the thing I was reading through here and I thought was the most interesting was this activity level risk. And so I'm going to go over that in another video where they go over this pretty cool paper done by Southern California Kaiser Permanente group using a large data set from within their patient population, looking at the correlation of physical activity with COVID-19 severity. Okay, so let's just kind of run through this together and I'll show you how this thing works. Okay, so they tell you, this is not medical advice, obviously, this is just information. It's pretty good information. So it's mainly geared for people in the United States. Belgium looks like it's an option as well. I'm not sure why. You put in your zip code. Let's just put in a random zip code. Okay, and then what is your age? Let's say 50. And then what sex were you assigned at birth? Okay, male. And then say next. And then you say, do you have, this is kind of assessing if you think you already have COVID-19. Do you have potential symptoms of COVID-19? So most people don't. And then do you have some underlying medical conditions? So you put in your underlying medical conditions and you check off the things that you might have. And I'll check off some of the things that are probably most common in the United States. So cardiovascular disease, very common. Diabetes, very common. Hypertension, very common. Smoker, okay, not very many people smoking. Obesity, extremely common. And then pregnancy, cancer, sickle cell anemia, Down syndrome. Okay, other chronic conditions. Okay, so let's do that. And then it says, on average, how many minutes per week do you engage in moderate to strenuous exercise? So they mean exercise where you would sweat a little bit, not just leisurely walking. So a lot of Americans, unfortunately, are completely sedentary and they never do anything other than, wake up, cook, get in the car, go to work, sit at a desk, get back in the car, go home, watch Netflix, go to sleep. And that would be the 10 minutes or less. Some people try to get some exercise in, and this is like exercise you're consciously trying to do. You're taking the stairs at work, or you're going for a brisk walk after dinner, or you're going for a bike ride, or you're going to the gym or something. So I would say I hope most people are doing at least 11 to 149 minutes. So next. And then do you live with other people? Yes. And then let's say you live, you're in a family and you live with 3 other people. And then how many other people do your household members come in contact with? So if your spouse or your roommates are also going to work and they run into 15, 20 people in a week, Then you kind of put the slider up. And then do you wash your hands frequently? Okay, let's say that you do. And then do you use personal protection equipment? That means like, do you wear a mask? Okay, yes, you do. Um, and then in the previous week, I participated in the following activities. So this is low risk activities. That's kind of like going to the grocery store when it's not very crowded, and outdoor socially distanced activities. I suspect that most people at this point are doing medium risk activities. So they're going to work in person, or they're going to school, and they're going indoor. Um, they're going to like indoor shopping, and doing some dining, staying overnight at a hotel, that kind of stuff. And then there's high risk activities, like you've gone to eat at a restaurant. Restaurant use is high risk because you're not wearing a mask, people are talking, people are eating. And then things like going to a nightclub, music concert, movie theater, sports stadium, religious services, team sports. You're playing team sports or visiting a hospital room. So I suspect that most people are doing medium risk, and a lot of people are doing high risk activities at this point. I mean, I certainly do. I've gone to eat at a restaurant, um, and like religious services maybe. Okay, so let's say you do that, then you click next. You say, okay, have you or have you not? If you haven't gotten a vaccine, then you calculate here. And then if you had a vaccine, so I got Moderna, I got 2 doses. That was a long time ago, so greater than 21 days. So then you calculate, boom. And then this will spit out a number. All right, so I'm going to say this. Okay, so risk is 52. This is an arbitrary number. 0 meaning like you're totally safe. 100 meaning you're at very high risk of dying. So basically, it says that in San Bernardino County, if you have a group of 50 people gathering, so we just had Thanksgiving, so if there was a 20% chance that one person in a group of 50 has COVID-19. In a group of 10 people, there's a 4% chance. So if you had Thanksgiving in person, there's depending on where you are in the country, there's probably a 4 to 10% chance that you had someone with COVID that didn't know it or did know it in that party. And so amongst people in your county with behaviors and levels of interaction similar to yours, so depending on like what I'm doing, what kind of activities I'm engaged in, I'm going to work in person and things like that, your probability of catching COVID-19 in any given week is 0.021%, so not extremely high. Then if I do get COVID-19, my risk of hospitalization based on these risk factors, if this were me, is 28%. The risk of requiring ICU is 12%, and the risk of not surviving is 2.7%. So a 3% chance of death based on these parameters. Now you can go back in here and just play with things. Let's say that I'm 20 and I'm male. Next, and then I don't have any underlying medical conditions, and then I exercise a lot, and okay, my behavior, let's say, remains the same, and then I'm vaccinated. So then calculate. So at this point, you can see that if I were 20 years old and healthy and active, my chance of death is 0.026%. So extremely low. And risk of hospitalization is 1%, so also extremely low. And then you'll see, like, in this group, if you don't have the vaccine, it doesn't change it dramatically. It's double, but double of a very small number is not very big. Whereas, let's say that you're 70. And then by the time someone's 70, they generally do have some health conditions. And they are sedentary. So at this point, your risk of dying is 26%. But if you've been vaccinated, then it's 13%. So it drops it significantly by 13 absolute percentage points, half. Then you see what the effect of exercising is. let's see here. This I thought was very interesting. So let's say someone is 70, they have some risk factors, but they exercise quite a bit. See, now it goes down to 6%. That is a significant change. Let's say you're 70, you've taken care of yourself, you don't have medical conditions. Now you're at 2%. So basically, a healthy 70-year-old that's exercising well, that's vaccinated, has a better risk than the theoretical person that was 50 and had some comorbidities and was only moderately active. Okay, so you can, I think it's very fascinating. You should run this risk analysis on yourself and see where you're at. I think it's very good information. And I found this activity level information very interesting, so I'm going to review that paper in another video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, comment below. Again, the link to this website will be in the description.